So you guys can see my screen, right? Hopefully.
Yes.
Yes. So I guess I'm going to talk about half transform today. So for the rest of the time, I use color here. So I just put here like things I probably like to talk about that in case I forget. So basically it's half transform. I'm not sure how many of you heard of that thing. This is something not very new, but actually is very useful sometimes. So I guess it's good to talk about that as like in half of lecture because I don't think it will take too much time for that. So I guess I would just start with the motivation and what is it about. So it's a very general method in the sense that you try to, in an image or in a video, try to recognize or detect some shape. Shape, for example, like a circle, a line, a rectangle, any kind of shape. As long as the shape you are able to parameterize somehow. So for example, if I have a circle in the scene, how do I parameterize that? By the way, how many parameters I have to parameterize a circle? Anyone? To define a circle, how many parameters do I need?
We'll need 2 parameters.
You sure? Wait, be careful. Like, okay, when I say parameters, I mean kind of scalar, number of scalar, yes.
Maybe just the radius?
And also the radius.
No, I would say the angle. It's only one parameter. We can use only one axis to parameterize a circle, I think.
So when I say parameterize, it's more or less characterize. So for example, I have a circle here. If I want to say there's a circle here, how many scalar numbers do I need to characterize this circle?
1.
1 will be just the radius, right? Yes, but I also need to know where is the center, right? So I will at least need 3 parameters. Actually, I need exactly 3 scalar number here. So basically, it will be like the x.
Oh, you want to define it at a specific point, not just like any random circle.
No. Yes. I want to say like, okay, I have a circle here. I want to say like exactly characterize or specify like the circle. What is that circle like? So then I will need 3 numbers, right? So I will need the, I hope like I make it clear now. So I will need the x and y coordinate of the center, right? And also I need to know the radius. So basically 3 numbers, I can completely characterize this circle. Do I make myself clear this time?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I just give one more example. Let's say a line. Like how many parameters do I need? How many scalar do I need to? Of course, when I say a line, it's not a line segment, but it's a line infinitely extend into screen like to infinity, let's say. How many numbers do I need to specify a line in the screen?
We need 4. We need 2
This may be
coordinates.
more tricky than, yeah, right?
We need 4 numbers.
4 numbers is kind of right, but it's you can use less than 4. I see like what you mean by I get.
Oh, we can use 3. We can use 2 points and a slope, like 2, like x, y, and a slope.
Yes, 3 is a better answer, but actually you can use even fewer. If we try to be very smart, for example, like think of like, okay, I think I need to set an origin here. So maybe I use the display like the kind of like very conventional way to define the origin. Like, let's say the upper left corner is a 0. Then I can define any line as the let's see, maybe I have a line here. I can draw a right angle from the origin
Yeah.
to this line, right? So then what I have with this right angle here, I have 1 degree here, theta. And then I also have a distance d here. So you see that any line on this screen can be completely characterized by just these two numbers, theta and d.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this is another example. So now what's half transform about is basically, as the name suggests, is some kind of transform, right? So you think of like you have any image. So I have an image here. I'm going to do a transform into the parameter space that the shape you're interested in. For example, if like you're interested in a line, this would be a 2D space, right? 2D space of D and R. If I'm interested in circle, that would be a 3D space. It's like a volume that have like X, Y, okay, this is X one axis, Y another axis, and R is the third axis here. Now, what we want is like, if we have a shape, something like if I have a circle here, we want to have a response in the corresponding space. For example, if I have a circle here, then somewhere here in this parameter space, I will have a point or like a high response saying that, like, okay, I will have a circle at location, let's say like X is here is a 20, this is a 30, this is looks like also look like 20, maybe 21, and then the radius is a 6 or something like that. Then in this space you have like X is 20, Y is like 21, and R equal to 6. You have a strong response here. So if I have like another circle, I have another strong response somewhere. You see my point here? So then essentially, of course, I can have, I'm not trying to detect circle now, I'm trying to detect lines. Then maybe like, if I do this half transform of lines here, then I have this d theta space, I have theta here is like 50 degrees, I say, and then like d here is like 30. Then I will have this this d theta space that maybe I think theta d is more common. Maybe use theta d instead. So I have a theta d space that so this have a point somewhere now. So 50, this is 50, and at 30, this is a 50, 30. I have some strong response somewhere here. I better erase this slide, just may confuse you guys. So is it clear up to now? So of course the question then is how do we make this transform? Like how do we transform like something like this into something like this for a circle, or like from an image transform into a parameter space for a line that is 2-dimensional? Any questions so far? Like is that clear what we are trying to do? So I guess I will answer like what is it, and like why we want to have that. So of course, once after the transform, then like, okay, that's it. Once we have the transform, how do we detect the shape? Actually, I guess I should fill that gap also. Like when I have this transform, after I have the transform, like how do I? Oh, actually, I should. Oh, okay, that's okay. I was thinking like I should record this, but I didn't terminate my previous recording once previously. Let's see if it's still recording or like no.
I think you're still recording. I can see you. You're
Okay.
still recording.
Yeah. Okay. I can't see whether it's recording or not. Anyway, so okay. Yeah, I think I should be recording because I didn't terminate this recording earlier. So okay, again, back to that question. Say if I have the half transform, this is the half transform for circle, this is half transform for line. After I did the half transform, how do I detect these things? It will be extremely easy, right? I can just set a threshold somewhere. So if I say like there will be high response whenever I see a circle like have a high response in the half transform domain, then I'll just set a threshold. If after the threshold there's a strong response here and there, then I'll say there's a circles correspondingly for those parameters there. So now I guess let's go to how do we do that? How do we do the half transform? Again, the idea is extremely simple. What we're going to do is okay, let's say if go back to this image, we are trying to do the half transform. Maybe I will just use this whole thing here. So let's say I have this image again, and I have a circle, let's say here. Now what the main idea of the half transform is just a simple majority voting. Majority vote. So basically you think of, oh, actually, I'm sorry about that. I guess I missed out something here. Of course, I start with a lateral image, right? I start with a lateral image. For example, I have a person here. So before applying half transform, typically we'll first do a edge detachment for some canny edge detector. So then I will only have the outline left behind. So then you can think of the input of the image into the half transform is just a binary map. Basically, like you have basically just outlines. So let me erase this again. So just get back the circle here. So for example, after edge detector, or like if I have a ball here, after edge detector, I just have an outline like this. That's like a circle here. And then what we are going to do for the half transform, as I said, is basically majority vote. So think of like each pixel in the image. Let's say I have a pixel here, pixel here, pixel here, right? So each of the pixel, maybe I draw in the sense more like if I have a circle, maybe after edge detector, I have a pixel here that is kind of like correspond to like a pixel on the circle, let's say, that is basically have non-zero values after the canny detector, or you think of like non-zero map. Now, what we are going to do is think of a pixel here. For this pixel, like just think of like what circles will going through this pixel here. What possible circles will go through this pixel? For example, I have a pixel here. If I think of like this is a pixel that fall on a circle, hypothetically there's a circle that is going to include this pixel here, then of course this is maybe the actual circle, but there are many possible circles can include this pixel, right? So for example, like I can also have like a circle like this, right? I can have a circle like this. All of them is going to include this pixel here. So then what half transform trying to do is simply for each of the pixel that after edge detector, and for each of the pixel that's basically non-zero after an edge detector, we'll just go for all the pixel, and for each of the pixel, we'll just give one vote for all the possible circles that include this pixel here. Is that clear? So therefore, like, for example, maybe I give it more precise what's going on now. So for example, if I have a pixel here that have a location is like x1, y1. Now you think of like what circles will include this x1, y1 here. So maybe let me start with like, let's say, if I assume that I only restrict myself a circle of radius R0 or R1, then the circle, or like, just give me one possible circle to include like x1, y1. Anyone? Do I make myself clear? Anyone?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. My question is like, what I want to do is like for a pixel that here is, I have some kind of like after edge detector. This is a pixel that have non-zero values, non-zero value, and I want to see like what kind of circle, what possible circle will include this pixel here at x1, y1. Can you just give me one possible circle? When I say like a circle, like it will be specified by the parameter like x, y, and r, basically the center coordinate x, y, and also the radius r. Just give me one circle like that can potentially include this x1, y1.
A circle with radius R1 that has an x coordinate of x1 minus x naught, which is a center coordinate multiplied by cosine theta, and y1 minus y naught sine theta.
Yes, that's very nice. Like we can have something like here, right? For example, like this is R1. You have some cosine theta here. I think like I should write theta here. So this will be like R1 cosine theta, and this is like R1 sine theta. So this is like x1 minus R1 cosine theta, and this is like y1 minus R1 sine theta. And as it was suggested, and you can see that theta is arbitrary, right? So therefore, like if I fix a R1, for example, I fix a particular radius, all the possible circles will be just basically R1 away from that pixel, right? So itself is a circle basically. And then of course, if you have like different R1, you have different circle basically. I have like, for example, if this R1 is equal to 10, maybe I want to look at like R1 equal to 15, then I have another circle here. So, but of course, when I say circle, it's like, if you look at the parameter space here, maybe it's better I draw like this here. So for a particular layer, let's say R1 equal to 10 here, given I have a point here, let's say x1, y1 here, then R1, x1, y1, I have one row for radius R1 from radius 10 from this x1, y1. And then if I go to another layer, maybe 15 here, I have another circle, but it's like farther away from x1, y1, maybe like a radius 15 away from that. So then this is like for one pixel, right? But we can do this like for all the pixels here. So then essentially, if I have like, for example, I have an actual circle, like here, this is the actual circle. Then for this guy here, I wrote a circle like for it can be like this circle will be including this pixel here, or this circle will be including this pixel here. But ultimately, this circle will have most activation, right? Because, or like most response, highest response, because there's many other pixels. Basically, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get like 9 folds here for this circle. And for example, for this circles here, only got 2 volts. Let's say if I don't have any other pixel here. So I hope it's clear. Maybe like I will just go for a simple code-like example. Maybe like can have you guys like just maybe if you miss something, maybe just verify if you understand everything. So here, let's say I just basically create an image here, put in 2 circles. This is the image of 2 circles here. So now this is a very simple half transform, as I mentioned here. I will assume, let's see. You see my circle here is all have radius equal to 10 here. I draw 2 circles. One circle is like at 20, 30, and then another circle at 50, 60. And then here I'm also only looking at the layer of like radius of 10. Of course, if you don't know how big is your circle, then you will try different R here. But I know, okay, I only want to look for circle of radius of 10. Then I'm going to do the half transform is equal to 10 here. Then for the transform will be essentially as I'm going to, for each of the pixel, basically the non-zero values here, like this, basically these yellow pixels here, around this, each of these yellow pixels, I'm going to draw another circle. Or like you can think of like, I will get one row, and the row will be lie on the circle. And then I will just overlap all of them. And then eventually, the actual circle, that basically the circle for this guy will, or like the half transform, basically this is the half transform only looking at the layer for R equal to 10. For R equal to 10 there. So once again, what I'm saying is that original half transform for circles should be 3 dimensions, right? But here I'm only looking at this particular layer because I know that like I'm only interested in circle of R equal to 10. Therefore, it's just 2 dimensions. So, and for that particular layer, after the half transform, you see that my maximum response after the material routing will be exactly at the center of the actual circles here that I'm trying to look for. So I hope it's kind of clear. So for line is as I mentioned, like this is like for circle, like typically like this. You can see that like the idea is very powerful because it can be used for any kind of shape, as long as you can parameterize that. But of course, the complexity will increase if you have a more complicated shape that require more parameters. So, for example, like let me go back. Like let's say we are done with circles. That's for line again. As we mentioned at the beginning, that like for lines, we just need 2-dimensional parameters here. Let's see. We remove something here. So again, I can say like this is theta, this is d, then there's a completely parameterized a line here. So now then the question is the same thing. So if I have a point here, for example, if I have a point, or if I have any points here, I need to think of like what d and theta, I mean what line, which lines with the corresponding d and theta will kind of include this point on the line here. For example, I can have a line here will include this point. I can find line here will include this point, and line here include this point, right? And then I simply need to just give one row for whenever I have a one non-zero pixel here after the Canny detector. I need to give one row for all the lines here. Actually, if you try to work it out, you'll find that if I maybe if I look at that here, if I have a point here, I have a particular theta here. The theta, I don't know theta is what, but the d is like this. As I change this is like probably the maximum d here. As I change the theta here, for example, I consider this different theta here, this d kind of shrink here, and then I change another d, this kind of shrink here. If you work it out, it's kind of sinusoidal actually. For a particular activation, you will have something sinusoidal in the space, something like this. And then like this is for one pole. Then if you have another point here, that's another sinusoidal or something like that. I'm not sure. I need to work this out. Like, are you guys interested to look at like the exact? It's not difficult actually. Let's see if I can do it really quickly. If I can, I'll just try to do that. So let's say if I have an xy here. So what lines will include this xy with parameter theta and d? Or actually I can think of like, if I have line theta and d characterized by this theta and d here, then the line, let's see, what should I say? Yeah, I guess this will be easiest. If I have like a kind of like, consider this a vector here, like a vector. So this is vector, this xy can be represented by vector x and y as a 2D vector. And then like, I'm consider a normal vector, like for example, theta here. So I'm trying to, actually now, maybe I just consider this red line here. So this is a red line here. Then for a particular theta, so let's say this is some theta here. Maybe I draw a better line here. Okay, maybe this line here. And then I consider this theta here. Now then, like I can consider this unit vector like cosine theta and sine theta. So then the line that going to include this xy will be something like, if I do a dot product of these two guys, will satisfy the equation that the inner product of xy and cosine theta, sine theta, the inner product should be equal to d, right? So, or in other words, I should have x cosine theta plus y sine theta is equal to d. So that's the line that with degree theta that include xy should have parameter d. So in other words, like if I given a particular point xy, so I just need to vary d. Basically, if I vary d here for a fixed xy, then I will have, therefore, you see I will have a sinusoid or something like varying d here, like this. So if I have a different xy, for example, this is x1, y1, that I have like one curve here, as we kind of like modify, change, I look at like how d vary with theta. So if I have another point, I say this is xy, y1. If I have other point x2, y2 somewhere here, I will have another equation, x2 cosine theta plus y2 cosine, y2 sine theta equal to d. So again, I will have another curve, another sinusoidal thing, or something like that. So then if like you look at all the points in the screen and add them all together, then again, you can, if you actually have a real line, so hopefully like, by the way, you guys please stop me. I know it's like kind of, if you get confused anywhere, because the screen, maybe so for example, if I really have a line here, let me erase more keenly. So just like in the circle case, for example, I have these are the pixels, right? And the actual lines here will have all the walls. So therefore, like even though for each of these point here, each of these pixel here, there are like infinite many of lines that get a volt, but all the rest of the line will only get 1 volt, right? But this particular line will get like many volts. So therefore, like you will have basically one kind of a strong activation in the scene.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
So where is the theta or the angle measured from? Like with what reference?
Oh, well, theta should go from 0 to 2 pi. Something
No, like where?
Oh, it doesn't matter actually. For example, if the convention, I can use the upper left corner, that's fine. Of course, if you use different theta, then the D will changes. So for example, if I use theta, you use upper left corner here as the as my origin, then kind of yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, actually, then the range of the D will be bigger. What I want to say is like, for example, like your D will go all the way to so much.
Well, the problem is I can think about like thinking about like, oh, I will have a D of like 1 centimeter or something, and then I'll have a theta of like 10 degrees. But I can measure this 10 degrees like as if I'm measuring it from like the y-axis, and then I'm going like counterclockwise, or I can do this and I go clockwise, and then I'll get two different lines. I'll get one with a positive slope and one with a negative slope.
Yes.
Because there's someone asking about this like in the chat, and I was thinking about it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't check the chat. Yes. It won't basically. Of course, because your D is always positive in this thing here. If you for example,
the D is not a problem, but the theta is a problem. Like we have to define where we're measuring the theta from.
Yes, what I mean is if I allow D to be negative, then the theta, for example, I take this as origin instead. So for example, I have a line here. Because my D is always positive, this is only theta is allowed basically. For example, I can assume that, okay, you have another theta, something like this, right? For example, this is like 45 degree. I can put this in 135 degree, but this is 135 and minus 10, let's say if this distance is 10.
Oh, okay. So we're defining, like we're using quadrants, and we're saying we're only, but if we're defining if the origin is on the top left corner, then
it'll be the same, just your range of D will be bigger actually. Because then in the sense you go out of the screen, right? For example, your theta can go this way, right? You can still have a theta like that, but then wait a sec, you are right. Actually, this looks ugly. You're quite right about this. Actually, this look. I'm not sure. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I'm not sure if I can allow D to be negative. Let's see, if I have a line here. Oh, actually, it's still okay, right? If I have a line here, my theta is like this degree. So right, theta is this degree, and this is the D here.
Then we have to tell where we're measuring the theta from.
Yes, the origin is important. But as long as it's consistent, it's okay, right?
Yeah, but like, so are we measuring it like, because I was thinking about measuring it from the, like with respect to the y-axis, not the x-axis. So I need to know where is the reference? Where is the 0 theta?
Yes. It is I'm sorry, I didn't really specify that. I will assume theta is like taking from this x-axis. Like typically people do like theta here, just do like 360 degrees like that. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, good question. So okay, that's all basically. Like that's the entire. I can give you guys take a look of another code. Maybe that will maybe helpful to you guys to another just better understand, deepen the understanding. So this is like this is old. Like I wrote it like a couple of years ago, therefore in MATLAB. so I didn't bother to change that. So so this is just an illustration that if I want to detect a line here, so I want one activation, one pixel here. So then if I compute a half transform, it will be just one sinusoidal curve like this, right? As I showed you earlier. Now, if I have like two points here, then I will have something. Okay, I draw a mesh here. So, sorry, instead of drawing this line here, I draw a mesh will make it more clear. So I actually have two sinusoidal curve here, but you see that there's a strong activation here, strong response for the line. Of course, for the line like going here, like going this straight line here. And if I add more, like consider more and more points here, like for this straight line, then this peak will getting sharper and sharper, and ultimately it's obvious that this is like the location for the line. And I guess as just finally, I guess I control the time pretty well this time. So I'll just take an open series example here. Of course, I was thinking like whether I would ask you guys to do this as an extra homework, right? But then eventually, I guess probably not this time. Maybe we'll do it some other time, because it seems to me like for this one, if I try to implement that from scratch, of course, if you use OpenCV, it doesn't have much really. But if you're trying to implement from scratch, you will get a little bit upset because it's really quite a bit slower than the OpenCV implementation, because apparently it's written in everything in C, and if you try to implement like half transform, as you can see here, there will be lots of loops, and it's very hard to avoid these loops here. And you look for everything like using Python is like really slow. And so when I try to implement that, like I find that is pretty annoying. So I guess I won't make it as a homework. But this one, so this is an example like for like detecting circle, like crazy number of circles here in my home. So so this is like it's pretty quick. Actually, I think it's very quick. Like you can do it real time. So for circles, so basically did a counter detector, and then like, wow, maybe killing my laptop now. And then I try to do the detection. So and that's another example like for doing the half transform lines. Somehow the OpenCV implementation or like the API is quite weird. Like for detecting circle, like it combined the counter detector inside the command there. So therefore, like I don't need to actually convert the image into a. I just changed it to grayscale, but I didn't have a counter detector here. But I think for the line detector, actually, you need to apply the counter detector to get the edges first. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I need to change my schedule to this one. So again, like you can detect lines quite well. So of course you can modify some of the parameters here to make it detect more or less lines here. So you need to go back to the lectures to talk about counter detector, whether if you make it a stronger detector, like for example, I can't forget myself also like these two parameters. One, yeah, you need to go back like different threshold. I remember there's two thresholds to control like number of lines you can, number of edges you can detect. And then like for the half line command here, it has the also can set threshold for the minimum length. This threshold I think is the number of counts there, number of volts here. So you need to have at least 30 volts to say this is a line. And then like the min length is like the minimum length of the line segment. And also you can specify the maximum line gap. For example, like if you have a line that if I have a big gap here, you won't consider a line. For example, like for this setup here, 50, 30. So if like I have, for example, I detect a line like this, but say this segment like is a less than 50, this is only 40, this is a 45, and the gap is bigger than 30, then this I won't count it as a line here by this command here. So I guess that's the end. Any questions? If not,
Okay, I have a question.
yes.
So, what kind of applications would you use this? The how do you say it? Hue transform. For? Would it like object detection? Is that one or?
I think it can be feature detection, not an object detection, because object detection would require like more than like just determining like that.
I guess this application is a more into more old school, but it's not useless. For example, if you think of like autonomous driving, like for example, if you want to detect just do lane checking, so then you have like this pretty nice line on the roadway. So we want to check those. And in that case, this kind of transform is very useful because you cannot detect this as a shape, right? You cannot do a patch asking, for example, you cannot classify this as a cat. For example, like you cannot train a CNN and just classify lines, something like this. So you have, I'm not sure I say it kind of clearly. For example, if I have a autonomous driving, I have a car here, I'm seeing this is the road, I want to check the lane, right? So in that case, I want to very nicely able to check the line of this lane, right? And for that, like this newer kind of like neural method won't be very useful here. It would be very hard to train a CNN just to classify lines here because or detect a line here because it simply have very few features for a simple line here.
But won't that make a problem though? Because like because this transform will be picking up on any line that it can.
Yes. So therefore, like you need to combine other techniques as well. For example, like you want to I need to have first have some segmentation. Okay, this is my world here. I have a simple segmentation. I know okay, this is my world. This is lot worlds here. And then on this world, I express some name here. Now I try to detect the link here.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So this is going to be used mostly like as part of some kind of bigger algorithm.
Yeah. It's always like it won't be just one simple. It will be like one particular component like add into a large.
Thank you.
Yeah. Another example is that you can have like 3D reconstruction. You want to get some geometric information. Then like, for example, you know that the house have a very nice kind of geometric. Everything is parallel. Then you want to detect the exact line here. Then maybe you can find the whatever you call this I forgot what's that called, vanishing points, stuff like that. So okay, so I guess I if no more questions, I will stop here. Then I will see meet with you guys like next Tuesday then. And I don't forget about review. So I'm shutting down my meeting now. How to shut down? Okay.